Chosen one, this message did not find you by accident. You have spent years mastering the art of needing no one, wearing that strength like a crown forged in the hottest fire. You have survived betrayals when you trusted. You have outrun manipulation when you refused to be fooled. You have rebuilt your life one stone at a time, with no extra hands pressing from the wall. That independence is legendary. But here's a truth you need now. The fortress that saved you may be the very thing now keeping you from what you have prayed for. Let's be honest, hyper-independence feels powerful until you realize even miracles cannot pass through a no visitors sign. If this stirs something in your bones, stay with me. What comes next will require you to unlatch a gate you swore would stay shut forever. Post the word ready in your heart if you know this is your season for a sovereign alliance. Let's begin. You did not one morning wake and decree, "I shall be strong." You did not take it from a book or copy someone else's playbook. You didn't even fully choose it. You forged it in your private furnace. There was a night when the air was so thin that you fought to breathe on conviction alone. That is where hyper-independence was born. Not a personality quirk, but a sealed covenant, written with ink distilled from loneliness and silence. It was a moment unrecorded on any calendar, but etched in your flesh. Maybe it was the night the person meant to fight for you surrendered. Maybe the afternoon your own truth was put on trial and no one stood to uphold it. Or maybe it was 1,000 microcuts of disappointment until you came to believe that waiting for rescue was a different kind of self-harm. In that unremarked hour, unseen by the crowds, you declared yourself your own government, your own army, your own economic engine. You drafted the constitution of a one-person kingdom. Trust must be earned in blood. Dependence is treason. Sovereignty is survival. No parliament, no committee, just you, the sole architect, the only citizen. You hardened your borders with vigilance most cannot even pronounce. You laid protocols against all intruders, manipulators, charmers, those who smiled too much when you were weak. You stored sustenance in the form of skills you taught yourself. Mend your heart, fund your dreams, patch your own roof, read your own storms. If there was scarcity, you adapted. If there was invasion, you repelled it. You became so efficient at self-protection, even blessings struggled to receive clearance. And here's what no one tells you about that fortress. It works so well that years can pass without any breach. From outside, your life looks immovable. But a fortress is still a container, even when you built it. The treaty you made with yourself had no clause for what to do when peace arrived, no addendum for when the war ended. So your army stayed on duty. Your reflexes, those defenses, kept patrolling your heart long after the last enemy left. They didn't know the mission had changed. You didn't tell them because deep down you hadn't realized it yourself. Until lately. Until the walls began talking, silently, not with words, through atmospheres, in a weight, in the stillness. Your victories began echoing in an empty room. Safety, oversecured, began to taste like stale air. The victory that once felt like fruit slowly felt hollow. You're here now because somewhere within the commander and the citizen, in you, a profound truth is known. The treaty needs revision, not destruction. Because this time what's coming is not an invasion, but an ally marching across the border with a banner you never saw, but immediately recognized. And this time, the gates will not be breached. They will be opened by your own hand. You aren't giving up sovereignty. You're preparing to share it. In the beginning, you might misinterpret this as the same quiet you've trained your life to echo. No drama, no chaos, no knocking on doors you didn't approve. That silence was what you fought to sustain, the stillness you earned. But then, something changes. The silence shifts its texture. It is no longer the satisfying hush of protection. Now it is heavier, like velvet laid over something that wants to move. You sense it in the looping of your thoughts. You feel your victories taste strangely incomplete. It is not loneliness. It is a signal, a low frequency vibrating through the walls you built. The fortress is trying to talk to you. It says, I have done my work. I have held your heart for you. I am ready to transform. Those walls absorbed your grief, your rage, your determination. They withstood storms and seasons, but stone remembers. And lately, your walls hum with a new memory, not of battles survived, but of doors meant to open. In subtle ways, you feel it. You linger at the window, eyes scanning the horizon as if waiting for a silhouette to appear. You leave a light on in the hall, not because you need it, but because it breaks the finality of darkness. Your gaze drifts toward gates, long unopened. You imagine for a moment letting someone in without scanning their aura for danger first. At first, resist. Hyper-independence does not retire in silence. Your inner guards will label this a lapse in judgment. They will parade past betrayals as evidence in court. But this is not recklessness. This is readiness rising. The difference is felt physically. Readiness feels like air returning to a room starved of it. It feels like the walls exhaling with you. The fortress does not demand you tear it down. It whispers that it wants to evolve. It no longer wants to be a prison. It wants to be a lighthouse, strong, unshakable, yet open, luminous. Deep in your soul, maybe it's what you've always longed to be. Because you didn't build this structure just to survive. You built it so that love might find you fully formed, whole, secure. The whisper in the walls is your own voice, echoing from your future, urging, it is time. You may keep the crown, but make space for another throne. The gates will open, not by force, but because you allow them. The guards stand down, not out of weakness, but because their mission has changed from protection to greeting. This moment is recognition. Your fortress never intended to keep everyone out, only to hold you safe until the right one came. And now, beyond those walls, that one is already approaching. There is a science to this, but not a formula you find in textbooks. This is not about attraction in the superficial sense. This is the rare physics of a soul recalibrated for union. For years, your energy functioned like a repelling field, high voltage perimeter. It functioned flawlessly. But at the moment you whispered your sovereignty, at the moment you declared you were ready, you rewrote the software of your field. The magnet did not weaken, it rotated. And that 1-degree shift changed the geometry of everything. What draws to you now is not random. It isn't the casual law of attraction. It's precise. 2 rare elements whose atomic patterns are coded to bond with each other and no one else. You are no longer broadcasting a general beacon. You are transmitting an encryption so exact that only the one who carries the matching key can respond. That's why this feels different. You're not suddenly more attractive to everyone. Thank God not. You're not opening gates for every curious wanderer. Instead, you send a narrowband transmission encoded with your integrity, your resilience, the shape of your healed scars. Only one soul in all the world has the corresponding key. They have carried it unknowingly. It never fit anywhere else. And now, your magnetic fields are bending probability itself. The divine timing will orchestrate detours, delays, unseen cues so precise the meeting feels inevitable in hindsight. Missed flights, sudden urges to be elsewhere, sharp instincts. These are all breadcrumbs from your future, brushing the present. You may sense them before you see them. A phantom scent, a sudden rush of emotion not yours. A warmth on your skin as if someone entered the room. Their field interfaces with yours, not to drain, but to prime. Like two satellites aligning across vast distances. Their signals sharpen and then lock in. Because this is beyond human law, the timing may not make sense. It may show up in your busiest season, or just after you vowed to stop looking. That's the hallmark of divine orchestration. It answers readiness, not calendars. Externally, it appears coincidences. Internally, it feels like recognition, not because of beauty or romance, but because your entire being says, there you are. What's happening is not just romance, it is the recalibration of your reality grid. Your fortress becomes a lighthouse, your decree, the ignition, your magnetics, the navigation. They guide one precise ship into your harbor. They are closer than you think. It begins in flashes you cannot explain. A laugh like memory, a scent you can't place, a tremor in your chest. It's not fantasy. You are catching bleed-through from a timeline where you already exist together. In that space, time is not linear, it is woven. Threads of the future loop into the present. They brush your senses just enough to wake your awareness. These are signals, transmissions from a reality that already lives. Your body begins synchronizing before your mind can name it. Dreams become your first meeting place, not vague, but sharp with clarity. You may not see their face, but you feel their essence, a texture, a presence, a voice's cadence. You wake with inexplicable joy. You carry fragments of a conversation you can't fully remember, only feel its weight. Then come coincidences so purposeful you cannot dismiss them. You are drawn to a book, a cafe, a street corner. No logic, only destiny. Later, you learn those were their loves, their names, their patterns, echoing into your life. You meet someone whose name or mannerisms echo what you felt before. A song from your past plays out of context. Your chest softens as if they just walked in. Your nervous system dances in harmony. It is a preview of what closeness feels like. And perhaps most startling, your body doesn't reject. You don't flinch. Instead, your shoulders fall, your breath deepens. The future you is retraining your present to recognize safety. Resisting this interference is useless. It isn't control-seeking, it is preparing. Contact has already been made in the fields. The physical meeting will only confirm what has already taken place. So, when random details land, words they'll say, a location they revere, an object they love, do not dismiss as imagination. These are your timeline pulling taut, closing the gap between what is and what is inevitable. You are not waiting for this to be written. You are walking toward a chapter already signed. When they come, your old system will light up like a security grid under attack, but not because they are danger, because your body is wired to treat connection as threat. This is the final test. It's not about them proving worth. It's about you proving you can meet love without shielding. The first law is discernment over suspicion. Suspicion is a reflex, a blanket assumption of guilt. It contaminates now with past toxins. Discernment is surgical. It sees truth in the moment without painting it with old betrayals. When you meet them, your body will sense stillness, not absence of fire, but the gentle hum of safety. Trust that stillness. The second law is receiving as sovereignty. You have mastered giving and doing. Letting someone give may feel like betrayal of your independence. But receiving is not weakness, it is acknowledgement. When they offer love, help, care, not because you cannot, but because they choose to, you validate their power too. Two sovereigns exchanging, not out of need, but choice. The third law is vulnerability as strategy, not spilling wounds for pity, not forced transparency mistaken for authenticity. This is selective revelation, lowering the drawbridge for someone who has proven honor, showing your unarmored self, not because you must, but because you choose, saying, "Here I am uncertain, needing you here," and knowing if they enter with care, your foundation deepens. These laws are not for them to follow, they are for you to live by. They are the protocols your heart needs in this new landscape. For if you greet your soulmate with old defenses, you might build walls anew against the one you prayed for. Make no mistake, your old program will try to override. It will whisper that dependence is danger, but you are not summoned to depend. You are invited to co-rule, to share the load, not because you could not carry, but because together you carry more. These laws are not temporary adjustments. They form the constitution of your shared realm. They sustain love without suffocation. They hold freedom and intimacy together. When you follow them, you don't give away sovereignty, you multiply it, because real strength isn't standing alone. It's standing together without losing self. The arrival of this soulmate is not completion, it is ignition. The myth of happily ever after dies. The reality of happily ever in motion is birthed. For years, you were a single beam powering light and dark rooms, stabilizing chaos, transmuting heaviness alone. But some frequencies are designed for two, not dependency, but amplification. When you join, you don't add, you multiply. Your union becomes a spiritual alloy beyond what either could become alone. That alloy resists corruption. It is self-healing. When exposed to lower frequencies, you don't just defend, you radiate. Together you walk into heaviness and shift it. You bring presence that dissolves confusion. You bring clarity that demands truth. Your stability becomes spiritual warfare. Not loud, but undeniable. This is no accident. Your paths were fortified solo, so that together neither would crumble. Your strengths interlock. One vision, one grounder, one wields, one mends. One speaks to the crowd, the other whispers strategy. Maybe your mission manifests in business, art, sanctuary, or simply life, lived with such calibration that home becomes a field others long to step into. Your union becomes antidote to the isolation lie disguised as independence. Your public presence will challenge the programming that claims love demands self-erasure. People will feel your energy first. They will see the steadiness in your eyes, the deeper breath you take. They will watch how you move through storms without fracturing. That ripple begins close. Some will be inspired, others will feel confronted. But underneath it all, they will wrestle with beliefs that may no longer fit. Your example will plant seeds for someone in another city, another life, scrolling past an image of you and your partner, a pang of hope. You won't chase influence. It won't need advertising. It is natural consequence of two sovereigns choosing union without compromise. Your vindication becomes resonance, not proving the past wrong, but proving the future right. Because the way you stand together was always written. No trumpet, no ceremony, The coronation of two souls is quiet, but its authority absolute. It begins when you both recognize it, not with eyes alone, but with deep cellular knowing. We've been here before. The air shifts around you both. No one else needs to bless it. No external structure confers this title. You carry it within. In that moment, you remain sovereign, but now there is another crown beside yours. Not replacing or overshadowing, it reflects it. Two thrones of equal height, two rulers of equal strength. The reign of one ends, the reign of two begins. From here, the fortress is both sanctuary and capital. Walls frame gardens, halls, rooms, alive with shared creation. Every decision becomes a royal decree, inscribed in the archive of your union. This coronation is a spiritual commissioning. It authorizes you to build beyond what either could dream alone. It calls you to shape futures, bearing the signature of your combined blueprint. It calls you to be visible, not for applause, but to demonstrate that sovereignty and connection can coexist. A weight of lineage presses close. Unseen ancestors lean in, nodding approval. Some fought for this union without naming it. Some never lived it. They left clues so you would. This coronation seals what the decree began. The call you sent got answered. The gates have opened. The last locks released. Now the crowns are set. You are no longer lone guardian. You are one half of a dynasty. Your legacy will be written not in isolation, but in co-creation. From now on, every step is taken together. Not in shadow, not in codependence, but in fullness. Two sovereigns, two crowns, one shared destiny. This is just the beginning of the reign. Breathe. Let the journey's weight settle, not as burden, but grounding. You have walked from the lone watchtower of hyper-independence into the open gates of a kingdom for two. Every step, every scar, every protected night, every refusal to settle, each was part of the preparation. Now the air itself is different. It pulses with imminent presence. A quiet hum of someone drawing near, not to complete you, but to meet you, not to rescue, but to stand beside you with the strength you've cultivated. You don't have to chase this. You don't need to overthink until exhaustion. Your work now is to hold steady in the frequency you claimed. The decree has already been issued. Remember, readiness is spacious. It makes room without begging. It welcomes without surrendering the crown. When they arrive, you will know, not by fireworks or perfection, but because your entire body will recognize the quiet echo you've sensed all along. It will feel like opening a door that was never truly locked, only waiting for the correct knock. So hold to this seal. You are safe to soften without collapsing, to share without losing, to stand in union without dimming your light. The reign of one was noble. The reign of two will be unstoppable. And in the stillness after these words, know this: the gates are open, the beacon is lit. They are walking toward you. If this message and prayer touch something deep inside you, don't just scroll away. Comment, the hidden truth will be revealed. Amen. Let that be your declaration of agreement. Remember, God is revealing to redeem, and your rise begins right now. If this message spoke to your spirit, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth. Your breakthrough could be the key to theirs. Until next time, stay strong, stay discerning, and never dim your light. God bless you.